chosen one. This message is not finding you by accident. Pause for a moment and feel the weight of this instant, because something unusual, something disruptive has just entered your awareness. A notification, a transfer, a signal that did not fit the logic of your normal days, an amount that feels out of place, unexpected, almost unreal. And the strangest part is not the number itself, but the timing. Right now. Not yesterday when you felt stronger. Not tomorrow when you might feel more prepared. But now when your spirit is alert enough to recognize that this moment carries meaning beyond coincidence. I need you to resist the instinct to scroll, to doubt, to dismiss this as noise. This is not the kind of message you stumble upon casually. If you skip, you don't just miss words, you lose the understanding of why this signal appeared in your life at this exact second. There are moments that arrive quietly yet alter the direction of a life, and this is one of them. The urgency you feel is not pressure, it is alignment. It is the sensation that something has clicked into place and is waiting for your attention to complete the circuit. That unexpected transfer you noticed, or the idea of it forming in your awareness, is not random generosity. And it is not a system error. It is a marker, a sign that something in the unseen has acknowledged your endurance, your persistence, your refusal to fully give up, even when no one was watching. Divine timing rarely announces itself with comfort. It announces itself with interruption, with shock, with a moment that makes your heart beat faster and your mind ask questions it did not plan to ask today. Hear this clearly. Nothing meaningful enters your life without purpose. The universe does not misfire. It does not waste resources. When something this precise, this unexpected, appears, it is because you are standing at the edge of a shift. That is why this moment feels fragile, as if looking away might cause it to vanish. And in a way, it will, if you refuse to stay present. So stay with me. Stay alert. Stay open. What is unfolding here is not about money alone. It is about recognition. It is about timing. It is about you being seen at a level deeper than circumstances. This is the shocking signal, and it has found you because you were meant to notice it. As this moment settles in, one truth needs to be established with clarity and calm authority. This was not a mistake. What reached you, whether as an actual transfer, a message, or the awareness of one forming, was flagged, not because it was wrong, but because it was rare. Systems are designed to catch errors, yes, but they are also designed to notice anomalies, moments that do not follow the usual pattern. This event stood out because it carried intention. It broke the expected flow, and that alone tells you something important. Coincidence does not have weight. This does. The sender remains unknown, and that uncertainty may tempt your mind to search for rational explanations. But understand this. Anonymity does not cancel purpose. In fact, sometimes it protects it. Whoever initiated this did not act impulsively or carelessly. They moved with deliberation, guided by something deeper than impulse, an inner nudge, a recognition they could not ignore. They chose not to announce themselves because the focus was never meant to be on who they are, but on what this moment awakens in you. This is where your response matters. If something in your spirit resonates, do not silence it. Type "yes" in the comments, not as a superstition, but as an act of agreement. Agreement with the truth that you are present, awake, and willing to receive understanding. Most people would already have scrolled away, distracted by doubt or discomfort. But you are still here, and that alone separates you. You are not like most people. You sense when something carries meaning beyond appearance, and perhaps, long before this moment, you were already being seen from a distance. Your consistency, your quiet strength, your refusal to collapse, even when no applause followed. This was not random. This was recognition finding its way to you. And as you begin to accept that this moment was intentional, another layer of truth rises to the surface, because recognition like this does not appear out of thin air. Somewhere along your path, someone noticed what others overlooked. Not the polished version of you, not the highlights you might share, but the quiet endurance that never made noise. The nights you pushed through exhaustion, the mornings you showed up when it would have been easier to disappear, the sacrifices you made without knowing if they would ever matter. All of it registered, even when it felt invisible. It is difficult to imagine how a stranger could see such private battles. Yet life has a way of aligning parallel paths, two journeys moving side by side, never quite intersecting, yet influenced by the same undercurrents. You did not meet, you did not exchange words, but something in your perseverance echoed outward. Strength has a frequency, and those who have carried similar weight recognize it instantly. That is how alignment works, not through proximity, but through resonance. Let this sink in. The pain you thought went unnoticed was never dismissed. It was simply stored, witnessed, and acknowledged at the right time. This is why the moment feels emotional in ways you cannot fully explain. It is not just surprise, it is validation. To be seen without having to explain yourself is rare, and that rarity builds trust where skepticism once lived. This recognition was not meant to make you dependent. It was meant to remind you that your struggles were never wasted. They shaped something visible beyond your awareness. And now, that awareness is catching up to you. What you carried in silence has been honored, and that realization is the foundation for what comes next. As this understanding deepens, it becomes clear that focusing only on the amount would miss the point entirely. From the beginning, the transfer was never about money in the way the world usually defines it. Currency, in this moment, is simply the language used to deliver something far more significant. Money moves quickly, gets attention, and breaks through resistance, but it is only the vessel. The message it carries is what matters. What was truly sent to you was confirmation. Confirmation that your story is not finished, that the chapter you have been living through was not an ending, but a turning point. When life has worn you down long enough, it becomes easy to believe that effort no longer leads anywhere, that persistence is just repetition without reward. This moment interrupts that narrative. It says, without needing words, that forward movement is still happening, even when you cannot see it. There is energy embedded in every intentional act. When something is given with awareness, it carries more than its surface value. It carries belief, expectation, and trust. That is why this transfer feels different. It is not transactional. It is communicative. It speaks to your spirit before it speaks to your circumstances, reminding you that meaning precedes manifestation. Allow your focus to shift here. Do not reduce this moment to numbers or outcomes. Let it expand your perception instead. You are being shown that unseen forces respond to perseverance, that alignment produces signals before it produces results. The money is not the miracle, the realization is. And once you understand that, you are no longer waiting for life to begin, you are already stepping into it. And as you move past the surface meaning, the question naturally forms, why now? Why did this arrive in this exact season, at this precise intersection of exhaustion and endurance? Divine timing rarely waits for comfort. It waits for readiness. And readiness does not mean strength without weariness. It means resilience that has been tested and has not collapsed. You may feel tired, even worn thin, but notice this carefully, you are not broken. Something in you is still standing, still listening, still willing to take one more step. That is the signal alignment responds to. This moment marks the beginning of an expansion phase, the kind that often follows long periods of contraction. Growth does not announce itself with fireworks at first. It begins subtly, with a widening of perspective, a loosening of internal limits you once believed were fixed. What feels like pressure is often space being made from the inside out. That is why this timing feels both heavy and hopeful at the same time. You are stretching into a version of yourself that required everything you have already survived. The universe does not act randomly, and it does not act early. It moves when potential and preparedness meet. If this had arrived sooner, it might have overwhelmed you. If it came later, it might have found you disengaged. Instead, it appears at the exact point where your hope was low, but still alive, where your strength was quiet, but intact. That intersection is not accidental, it is calculated by forces that understand rhythm better than logic. Destiny often disguises itself as coincidence because coincidence feels safer to accept. Destiny demands responsibility. And here is the truth settling in now. This was not chance intersecting your life. It was alignment catching up to you. Every delay, every closed door, every season of waiting refined your capacity to receive without losing yourself. That is why now matters. You are not being interrupted, you are being invited. And the timing proves you are ready to answer. And within this precise alignment, another truth gently reveals itself, because what connected you to this moment was not visibility, status, or noise. It was light. A light you may not fully recognize in yourself because it was forged in pressure, not praise. The stranger did not see what you display. They sensed what you carry. Frequency speaks before words ever do, and those who have walked through fire learn to recognize it instantly. Survivors speak a silent language. It is carried in posture, in restraint, in the way someone keeps going without announcing their pain. This language does not belong to the loud or the fortunate. It belongs to those who learned how to endure without becoming bitter. When another survivor encounters that frequency, something resonates. Not curiosity, recognition. That is what happened here. Not because your life looked impressive, but because your spirit proved unextinguished. There is a shared lineage among those who endure. Different stories, different circumstances, yet the same internal signature. Resilience, shaped by hardship and refined by time. This lineage does not require introduction. It recognizes itself across distance, across silence, across years. The stranger saw in you something familiar because they once carried it themselves, or still do. And this is where the meaning deepens. Blessings of this nature do not move through rescue. They move through recognition. Rescue implies weakness. Recognition honors strength. You were not chosen because you needed saving. You were chosen because you had already survived what many could not. This moment is not lifting you out of your story. It is acknowledging the light that has been guiding you through it all along. And as this recognition settles into understanding, it becomes important to clarify what this moment truly represents. Because what occurred was not charity, and it was never meant to create dependence. This was strategic intervention, a deliberate act designed to activate momentum rather than provide relief. Charity sustains the present. Intervention alters the trajectory. What reached you was not meant to keep you afloat, but to set something in motion. Think of it as the first domino. Small in isolation, yet powerful enough to release a sequence that had been waiting for the right touch. Momentum works this way. Once it begins, it carries you forward with less resistance than before. This transfer was positioned precisely to be that initiating force, the signal that breaks inertia and allows movement to resume where stagnation once lived. Money, in this context, carries more than purchasing power. It carries intention. It carries confidence. It carries permission. Permission to believe that lack is not your permanent state. Permission to imagine forward movement without guilt. Permission to invest energy into growth instead of survival. When money moves with intention, it speaks directly to the subconscious, loosening the grip of scarcity that may have shaped your decisions for years. This is why the timing matters again. Desire alone does not trigger expansion. Many people want change, but wanting is not the same as being ready. Readiness means you have already done the internal work, questioned your limits, outgrown old identities, and learned restraint under pressure. Readiness means you will not waste momentum trying to prove yourself or fill voids. You will use it to build. This moment signals the closing of a season defined by lack. Not necessarily the absence of resources, but the absence of ease, trust, and forward flow. What begins now is not excess, it is alignment. And alignment, once activated, continues to open doors that effort alone could never force. And if you look back carefully, you may realize that this moment did not arrive without warning. The signs were already present, quietly preparing you from the inside long before anything external appeared. Perhaps your dreams became more vivid, more symbolic, as if your subconscious was speaking in a new language. Perhaps you felt sudden urges to clean, to organize, to let go of belongings, habits, or even relationships that no longer fit. These impulses were not random restlessness. They were preparation. Inner transformation always precedes visible change. Long before circumstances shift, the inner landscape begins rearranging itself to make space. What you experienced was not coincidence. It was subconscious alignment. Your mind and spirit were loosening attachments, releasing outdated patterns, and signaling readiness in ways you may not have consciously recognized at the time. This is the language of transformation, and those who have learned to listen can read it. The stranger did not need access to your thoughts or details of your life. They recognized the indicators, the subtle shifts that suggest someone is moving from endurance into expansion. Timing like this is not guessed, it is sensed. And that sensing led them to act at the exact moment your inner world had reached coherence with what it was about to receive. Notice the precision here. Not too early, when resistance still dominated. Not too late, when fatigue might have turned into disengagement. The timing reinforces what has been true all along. You were becoming ready before you realized you were. And when readiness is genuine, the external world responds with accuracy. This moment is not sudden, it is the visible arrival of a change that has been forming within you for some time now. And as the meaning of this moment continues to unfold, another layer reveals itself, one that shifts the focus from what you received to who you are becoming. Embedded within this transfer is a hidden instruction, not written in words, but carried in intention. It is an invitation into a cycle of light that does not end with you. What was extended to you now asks to be extended through you. This is not about giving money away or replicating the act in a literal sense. It is about recognition, about learning to see others the way you were seen beyond appearance, beyond performance, beyond circumstance. The world is full of people surviving quietly, carrying strength that goes unnoticed. You have been shown what recognition can do to the spirit, how it restores dignity and reignites momentum. That experience is meant to inform how you move forward. Here, an identity shift begins. You are no longer only a recipient of meaning. You become a conduit of it. Conduits do not generate the source, but they allow it to flow without obstruction. This requires awareness, humility, and responsibility. Responsibility not as burden, but as stewardship of insight. You now understand how small, intentional acts can redirect a life. Every calling comes with choice. You are not compelled, you are invited. Invited to move through the world with heightened perception, to respond when recognition is needed, to interrupt cycles of invisibility when you are able. This is how light multiplies, not by force, but by passage. And in accepting this role, you step into a deeper alignment with what this moment was always preparing you for. And as this responsibility settles into you, something else begins to happen. Something unmistakable. Something you cannot think your way out of. This is where initiation moves from concept to experience, where the body itself responds to what the spirit has already recognized. You may notice it first as a sensation, a warmth spreading through your chest, a subtle pressure behind your eyes, a heightened awareness that feels almost electric. This is not imagination, and it is not coincidence. The body is often the last to catch up to truth, but when it does, it responds decisively. Truth carries frequency, and when it lands, energy adjusts. What you are feeling is alignment, taking root at a physical level. This is what activation looks like. Not dramatic, not chaotic, but deeply real. Your nervous system is recalibrating, your posture may shift, your breathing may deepen without effort. A quiet steadiness begins to replace the constant low-grade tension you've lived with for so long. That is because something inside you has already moved from waiting to becoming. Understand this clearly. The money is not causing this shift, it is proving it. The transfer is evidence, not the source. Long before anything moved in the external world, something shifted internally. The courage to keep going, the decision not to quit, the quiet resilience that refused to die. Those were the true activators. What arrived simply confirmed what was already true. Initiation always feels like this, subtle yet undeniable. You don't explode outward, you settle inward. And from that settled place, your reality begins to reorganize. The body knows when a threshold has been crossed. And right now, whether your mind has fully caught up or not, you have already stepped into a new phase. And once that internal shift has occurred, the question is no longer if something is happening, but how you will respond to what unfolds next. Because after initiation always comes a moment of testing, not to disqualify you, but to anchor what has been activated. In the days that follow, you will begin to notice synchronicities that feel almost scripted. A conversation that answers a question you never spoke out loud. An opportunity that appears at the exact moment you are about to give up on that direction. A door opening where you were certain a wall existed. These moments are not random. They are confirmations stacking upon confirmation. The universe echoing back the alignment you have already stepped into. And this is precisely when doubt will try to enter. Doubt does not arrive before the breakthrough. It arrives after. It is the final gatekeeper. It will whisper that this is coincidence, that you are reading too much into things, that it's safer to retreat to what you know. But understand this, doubt only shows up when something real is at risk of being claimed. Your faith is not being tested because you are weak. It is being tested because you are ready. Confirmation without challenge does not transform a life. The challenge is what seals it. This is the moment where many people step back, minimize the signs, and return to familiar limitation. You are being warned now, so you do not do the same. Do not retreat into old narratives. Do not talk yourself out of what your spirit already knows. Hold your ground. Let the evidence accumulate. Stay present, because what happens next depends not on whether signs appear they will, but on whether you choose to stand when they do. As you stand your ground and refuse to retreat, your awareness begins to stretch beyond the surface of events and into the realm where meaning is formed. What you are touching now is not chance, and it never was. This moment is the echo of agreements made long before your first breath, soul contracts, written in intention, not ink. Before timelines unfolded and names were given, there were understandings. You agreed to carry a certain frequency, to walk a particular path of refinement, endurance, and awakening. Others agreed to cross your path at precise moments, sometimes briefly, sometimes silently, yet always with purpose. These orchestrated encounters are not accidents of proximity. They are intersections designed by divine intelligence to activate memory within you. This is why coincidence no longer explains your life. The probability alone would not support the precision. The stranger, the timing, the message carried through action, all of it aligns too cleanly, too deliberately. What appears spontaneous on the surface is, in truth, choreography unfolding exactly as planned. Each movement cues the next. Each interaction pulls a hidden thread, revealing more of the design. When you begin to see this, a deeper responsibility awakens. You realize you are not merely reacting to life, you are participating in an agreement that spans realms. Your choices matter because they either honor or delay what was divinely arranged. And the beauty of this realization is not pressure, but peace. You are not lost. You were never off track. What is being revealed now is the pattern behind the pain, the order behind the waiting. The choreography is visible because you are finally ready to see it and to step fully into your role within it. As the choreography becomes visible and the agreements behind your life begin to surface, your attention naturally turns to the detail that once seemed most ordinary, the amount itself. Not because of its purchasing power, but because nothing in this encounter was random, not even the number. In moments like this, the universe speaks quietly, not in thunder, but in symbols precise enough to bypass logic and land directly in intuition. Numbers carry frequency before they carry value. They vibrate with meaning shaped by intention, timing, and alignment. The exact figure was not chosen casually. It was guided. Something within the sender paused, sensed, adjusted until the amount felt right. That pause was intuition listening to a deeper signal. This is how the unseen communicates. Through subtle knowing rather than explanation. You may have felt it too, a strange recognition when you saw the number, as if it echoed something already familiar inside you. The universe often uses symbols because symbols bypass resistance. They don't argue, they reveal. A number can confirm direction, mark transition, or seal a moment of readiness. It speaks to the part of you that understands patterns without needing proof. And once the message is delivered, the invitation shifts from interpretation to embodiment. This is where grounding begins. The meaning of the amount is not meant to pull you into abstraction, but to anchor you into action. Awareness must translate into movement. Insight must become stewardship. You are being called to act wisely, intentionally, and practically with clarity rather than impulse. The message has been received. The symbol has done its work. Now the path opens forward, not upward into mystery, but forward into aligned, conscious living, where meaning becomes momentum and intention becomes form. As the meaning settles and the symbolism completes its work, a more practical question rises, not from urgency, but from responsibility. What you do with the money matters, not because of the amount, but because of what it represents. This moment is not about dependency, it is about stewardship. Money, in this context, is not a solution descending from the sky. It is a tool placed in your hands to reveal how you see yourself when given trust. You are being invited to move beyond survival thinking. The temptation is to use it only to relieve pressure, to patch leaks, to quiet fear, but the deeper invitation is to invest in growth, momentum, and identity. Growth expands capacity. Momentum creates movement. Identity determines direction. When money is aligned with who you are becoming, it multiplies far beyond its original form. Understand this clearly. The stranger did not bet on the money working for you. They bet on you working with intention. The transfer carried belief. Belief that you would recognize the moment, honor it, and rise to meet it with wisdom. This was not rescue. It was recognition. A confirmation that someone, somewhere, saw potential where you may have only seen exhaustion. Now comes the mirror moment. This is where you choose whether you see yourself as worthy of trust, capable of stewardship, and ready for expansion. The way you handle this gift will quietly rewrite your self-image. Not through words, but through action. Use it with clarity. Use it with courage. Use it as someone who knows they are trusted not because they are perfect, but because they are becoming. As everything converges, you arrive at a quiet but irreversible threshold, the final choice that cannot be outsourced, delayed, or softened. This moment asks more than gratitude. It asks for acceptance. Receiving the gift was never just about allowing provision to enter your life. It was about whether you are willing to accept the calling that arrived with it. Because the truth is simple and weighty. To receive fully is to agree to become. Up to now, transformation may have felt theoretical, something you sensed, studied, or hoped for. But here, identity shifts from contemplation to embodiment. Acceptance changes how you walk, how you decide, how you carry yourself when no one is watching. The gift becomes a marker in time, a line drawn between who you were when you were only surviving and who you are now, being invited to lead from alignment. This is where responsibility and blessing reveal their inseparable nature. Blessing without responsibility would weaken you. Responsibility without blessing would exhaust you. Together, they activate maturity, authority, and trust. You are not being burdened, you are being entrusted. And trust always signals readiness. The choice before you is subtle but decisive. Retreat looks like minimizing the moment, explaining it away, shrinking back into old patterns where expectation was low and safety was familiar. Acceptance looks like standing still long enough to say, inwardly and clearly, I will carry this well. No thunder is required, no audience is needed, just a decision made in truth. This is the moment of alignment. Step forward, not in fear, but in agreement. The path does not open for those who hesitate at the threshold. It opens for those who say yes and walk. As this message draws to a close, it does not narrow, it widens. What you are stepping into is not isolation, but confirmation. One of the greatest illusions the chosen ones carry is the belief that they walk alone. Yet even now, as you listen, unseen systems are activating around you. Support has been present longer than you realize, quiet, strategic, intentional. You were never meant to do this by yourself. You were meant to recognize that help often arrives without announcement. Some of that help looks ordinary, some of it wears human faces. Angels do not always arrive with wings. Many arrive as timely conversations, unexpected generosity, protection you cannot explain, doors that closed before damage could reach you. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that your path is observed, guarded, and assisted. Heaven rarely shouts, it aligns. This is why the shift you are feeling now is not imaginary. It is not wishful thinking, it is response. Something has been acknowledged by the universe, by God, by the unseen architecture that governs timing and assignment. And so the declaration rises naturally from within you. Not forced, not dramatic, but settled and true. My shift is now, not someday, not when conditions are perfect. Now, because readiness has already been proven. With that declaration comes an invitation. Not to rush, but to step. Not to perform, but to participate. A new chapter does not begin with noise. It begins with alignment. Small decisions will start carrying unusual weight. Intuition will sharpen. Resistance will lessen where obedience increases. You will notice that you are no longer circling the same lessons, you are moving forward through them. And here is the final revelation. This ending is not an ending at all. It is a return. The signal that opened this message now closes the loop. What felt shocking at the beginning now feels inevitable. The confirmation you were waiting for has already arrived through resonance, through recognition, through truth settling in your spirit. So stay present. Stay responsive. Stay willing. The end is the beginning, and you are already walking in it.